Never. Without news, the community is not informed of the facts. They might be informed on social media, but they're not informed with the facts. Because community journalism keeps our government honest. It keeps decision makers honest. You know, covering our communities, covering the events going on in these towns. They're important, so yeah, my work's not done.
Sarah, you've got this, okay? But they lost.
Not really. Not where it counts.
You're watching WDAY Extra. Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Is
Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Good Monday morning. This is I Can Finally Yell edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, Inforum.com on the 26th day of June. It's a big day. We'll tell you why later. Happy Monday morning, everybody. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Stay dry as best you can. We did not. Or at least I can't say we. I did not. Maybe our crew, I'm sure, was better weather prepared than I was. Through the rain that we got on Friday and Saturday at the Red River Amateur Championship over at Moorhead Country Club. A shout out to our first of our crew to make that happen. We just did a golf tournament, a 3-day golf tournament, 18-hole coverage yesterday. I mean, that's pretty legit stuff. That there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So that's pretty cool. Second, thank you to everybody over at Moorhead Country Club. They were great. Got us everything that we needed in terms of from towels, especially on Saturday at around 1:30. To all the info that we needed. That was very helpful, and I hope it added to the broadcast. Certainly added to the broadcast for me to, not have my laptop short out at me at about 1:45 when it was raining sideways in our tent right behind the 18th green. Thirdly, to the golfers, for some that had to battle some, horrendous weather. Really bad weather out there on Friday, especially when we signed off at about 2:15, it was bad. And when the second delay of Saturday hit at around 1:30, it was nasty out there. So, salute to everyone over the last 3 days, and that was a lot of fun. I said in jest there, I'm finally able to yell edition because apparently I don't know if this was a bet going on our crew that I was going to be too loud for said tournament. I do have a normal volume voice. That's not true. This is the normal volume I have. But I tried to keep it down a couple octaves, knowing where we were positioned. If Baby Yoda is the first tee, then the computer over here is where we were at. So that needs to tell you exactly of our proximity. Or if Baby Yoda's the 18th green, this is where our tent was, where I'm at now. So, last I heard, my voice carries a bit. So that was certainly a concern, at least I had. But I don't believe we got any complaints. I haven't received any. I didn't get any, side-eye looks as golfers are coming past us and at the 18th. So I think I accomplished some things there. For Josh Galvin, it wouldn't have mattered. North Dakota State golfer from Maple Grove, Minnesota, who won the men's side of the Red River Am. Literally, they could have had fire alarms going off. I don't think it would have mattered over the last 3 days. He was brilliant in winning in a record-setting fashion. He played late Friday, went out and shot 66, went and tied the course record. We signed off at about 2:15 on Friday when because we were going to go on the air till 3, and with the weather it was, we signed off then. It was about a 2.5-hour delay, so they restarted about 4:45. Josh played in that late window when, honestly, late Friday afternoon, Friday evening, it was nice out, honestly. The wind was down. It wasn't too bad. Shot 66 to tie the course record. He played late on Saturday, so he missed all of the junk that we're talking about. Again, we got him for a couple of holes before we signed off on Saturday at 5 o'clock. And then he goes out and shoots 67. So he started the final round yesterday when we came on the air with a 6-shot lead. And myself, Larry Murphy, and Greg McCullen, shout out to those guys. They were awesome. It was great to work with them over the last 3 days. We're wondering, okay, what's it going to take for somebody to go and get him? Is he going to back up? And we'll show you that there was no backing up because the very first hole yesterday, this is what happened. He hit the flagstick with this chip shot, nearly holed out at 1. And then the birdie train began. I mean, when you have putts like that going in that rim around the cup, this is the 10th hole. Drills another birdie. He played that hole about as perfect. Another one here at 14 at the par 3 that he drills. This one at 17 was laughable considering he was in trouble off the tee. He made that. This was a closing out par to shoot another 66. He won by 10 shots. This was a laugher. It was over literally when the round started yesterday. We didn't know that, but Galvin made sure that there was no challengers. And for his Bison teammate, Ian Simonich, who ended up finishing second and had a good, I mean, if you take Josh out of the equation, it was a heck of a weekend for Ian. He's probably thinking, I probably won with the 2 rounds. He had the second best round of the day yesterday, did Ian Simonich, and he finishes 10 shots off the lead. For Josh Galvin, this is a heck of a win. He got the Birchmont last year up in Bemidji, takes home first prize here by 10 shots. All told, there are only 3 players that finished under par in the event. Galvin, Simonich, and Lucas Federal, who was the guy starting the day in second place. He started 6 shots back. He shot a 1 over par round of 72 yesterday. All told, there were only 2 rounds under par yesterday on the men's side. Galvin 66, which tied the course record for the second time in 3 days, and then Ian Simonich's round. We'll have more on this when Kolpack comes by at 9:35 to give us maybe some better perspective on how outrageous the playing was yesterday. It was about as good as I've seen. I mean, I've covered that tournament long ago when I was still anchoring weekends when it was the KX Am. I never saw anybody go this low. Even when it was a 2-day event, nobody put this together. That was awfully impressive. And we had Steve Kennedy on at the end of our broadcast yesterday, the men's golf coach at NDSU, smiling from ear to ear because you look of the top 10, 5 of them play for the Bison. The winner and the runner-up, guy who tied for 4th, guy who finished 7th, who just wrapped up his career, and the guy tied for 9th, all are Bison. It's a pretty good weekend for NDSU on the golf course. So congrats to Josh. On the women's side, that was the actual drama because we had none on the men's side. We had a 3-way race there. Leah Scar from NDSU, the defending champion. Mackenzie Mages from South Dakota State. Minot's Becca Cheddar were battling it out. And nothing had really been settled until they got to the 11th hole, and that's where things literally flipped. Becca Cheddar ended up winning the tournament. She had a couple of really nice shots. This one was a brilliant shot over at 7. This was maybe the shot of the tournament. Second shot at the par 4 11th, which was just a tricky pin. Ended up making the birdie putt. Mages made bogey. That flipped everything because she went from second to first. This putt, she said she was hoping to make this at 18. She actually came over to our booth. Did I win? We were all nodding at her like, yeah, you ended up winning after Mages made just a tremendous shot at the 18th. She nearly holed out, which we would have had the greatest finish ever. And she made that shot from the fairway, but Becca ended up winning by a shot. For a woman that already has had some nice hardware in her golf career, which includes a state championship at Minot in high school, won the women's stroke play in 2020. She plays at Grand Canyon University. Had a couple of tweets sent at me about go Lopes after she won. Pretty nice to go from Minot to Grand Canyon. Not gonna lie about that. And she was pretty. You saw that coming off the 18th. She was overjoyed about her victory yesterday. So congratulations to them and to the golf course and to all the people working on it. To have that much rain, and we had a couple shots, especially on Friday and Saturday, of how much water was on the golf course, and they were still able to play and got everything done. We signed off the air, whatever it was, 5:30, 5:35 last night, a little bit after probably what we anticipated, but not too much. I mean, that's because I'm sitting here on Friday visiting with a bunch of our crew, and I'm like, with a weather forecast, the way it looked, I didn't think we were playing any golf on Saturday. And the fact that eventually the sun actually came out and conditions were not too bad on Saturday was just amazing. So shout out to everybody there for a great weekend. Fun to do. And that finally, on the 25th of June, wraps our live sports calendar for the year. It began in the middle of August with, I think, Bison soccer. And now on June 25th, we are done. We got a little bit of a respite here now, probably about 5 weeks. And then we've got Bison soccer, I think, coming the middle of August to ramp it up for the 23-24 year. So from August to June, we had something happening, whether it was soccer, track, golf, softball, baseball, all the usuals, football, basketball, hockey, wrestling, volleyball. We had it all. Pretty pumped about that. And shout out to everybody that does with our live sports team. They, you see our faces on it, but it's everybody that does it that makes it happen. They're the superstars of it. So a little bit of a respite for our crew, and then we'll be back at it in the middle of August to start it all over again. Before we do best of the weekend, we got a big show coming up. Eric shared with me. We signed off the air. Said, I know what you're talking about tomorrow. I'm like, well, yeah, we got a couple stuff. He said, oh, no, the Wolves made a deal. I'm like, what? They don't have anybody to make a deal with. This was honestly surprising to me. The Timberwolves announced yesterday that they have re-signed Naz Reid. 3-year deal. Good deal for the Wolves, too. This is a guy that they wanted back $42 million over 3 years. Source confirms that to the Star Tribune. Guy that was undrafted out of LSU. The Wolves have found him, developed him, made him a really good player. I said this how many times during February and March that Naz was maybe their best player going when Cat was still out. Gobert was doing what he was doing. Ant was sidelined with injury. I mean, there were a couple of games, including that game in Sacramento, where he was fantastic. You see the terms of the deal. other teams might have been able to offer Reed a starting position, this according to the Star Tribune story, but few would have been able to pay the 23-year-old more than their mid-level exception, which is just north of $12 million per year. The Wolves were able to sign Reed to a deal worth $14 million annually because they controlled his Larry Bird rights, which allowed teams to spend over the salary cap to keep their players. Plus, the cap on the luxury tax went up. Last week, the NBA announced that from 162 to 165. Reed wanted to be here. The Wolves wanted him back, and now they've got a deal. This is a nice surprise, honestly, for a team that's kind of hamstrung with what they have is what they're going to roll with. This is a nice bonus. We're going to have much more on the Wolves coming up on the show tomorrow. Jace Frederick will be back with us from the St. Paul Pioneer Press. We were going to have him on to talk about the draft with the drafting of Leonard Miller and Jalen Clark, what the Wolves did in the second round last week. And now we've got some other news to share. They're going to have the official introductory press conferences for Miller and Clark today at Target Center. So Jace will be with us tomorrow, I believe at 10, to discuss this. So a nice little bonus there for the Wolves. Good piece back. Now they've got to make some decisions on a couple other guys. Knowing full well they're going to have to pay Jaden McDaniels and Ant after next season, that's when I think everything gets blown up. I wouldn't have been surprised. I'm okay if they move on with Cat. I really am. I know I'm probably crazy talk there, but I'm okay if they move on from Karl Anthony Towns. I know they're not going to, but this is, a surprise, a nice one that they end up re-signing Nas, and he'll be back with the Wolves. Again, look at what happened after he broke his wrist in that game in Phoenix late March. Wolves were playing their best ball then. I mean, they struggled to the stretch. I mean, there was a time they were out of the play-in. I mean, the Wolves were at 5 in the Western Conference when Nas was healthy. And Cat came back. They started to figure it out. And then at the end, they had no Nas Reed, no slow-mo. You had no McDaniels. You had guys punching one another. I mean, it was a train wreck. That's maybe why Tim Connolly, the president of the Wolves, says, well, all right, well, let's see what we got. If we had everybody here, nobody punching walls, then maybe we can run this back and be half decent in the West. I mean, with the moves that have been made, though, over the last few days, think of what's happened in the Western Conference since the Denver Nuggets won the NBA championship, which was 2 weeks ago tonight. Denver won, right? Chris Paul now plays in Golden State. Bradley Beal plays in Phoenix now. You've had two huge moves in the West to move the Warriors and the Suns. They think are going to be better. Those are two teams that played longer than the Wolves. They each made it to the second round. And you know there's more stuff to come. And by the way, the number one player in the draft just went into the Wolves division in Victor Wembanyama. He's now playing in the same division with the Wolves. I'm not saying San Antonio is suddenly going to be world beaters, but they're going to be better. Houston's not probably done with stuff. OKC is going to have Chet Holmgren this coming year. It'll be fun to see what happens there. We got a fun show coming up for you here on this Monday. We'll do our best of the weekend in a few minutes. Jeff Kolpack will be by at 9:35. Recap, he was, of course, part of our broadcast coverage over at MCC. Also, some big Bison football news over the weekend. We'll discuss that with Jeff coming up here in just a few minutes. Speaking of that big Bison football news, at 10 o'clock, we told you about it on Friday, that Mojo Weerts had transferred from the University of Arizona to North Dakota State. You'll meet Mojo. His given name is Matt. He's the younger brother of current Bison linebacker Luke Weerts. He's not going to play linebacker. He'll tell you all about that coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, I think one of the really neat stories is a big Bison football day here to start on a Monday. North Dakota State added for its 2023 roster out of Lakeville South, punter Leighton Keilen will join us. Now, typically we wouldn't have a punter on the show, but when you're 6'7" and played hockey, I think that's a good enough reason to have him come on the show. So he'll join us at 10:35 before we say so long. So that's what we got coming up here for you on a busy Monday. We'll take a break. We come back. We'll salute our best of the weekend, including baseball teams scoring football amount of runs. Hot Mike is back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV, and Inforum.com.
While serving in Afghanistan, I was hit by sniper fire. My victory is sharing my story of resilience to help the next generation.
DAV helps more than 1 million veterans every year. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
You want a home, but they deny you because you're LGBTQ or because of your race or the obstacles you face? Deny you a lender because of your gender? Housing discrimination has no place in our nation.
Know your rights. Go to HUD.gov/fair housing.
Sometimes we hope a problem will just go away, but some things need attention before reaching the breaking point. You don't have to face these problems alone. Visit boystown.org/parenting for any age, any stage. Boys Town.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, ride your bike.
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it, smile big and bright.
Thousands of kids just like me are happy every day.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is able to make an everyday miracle happen for kids like me.
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it, take your shot.
Because of you,
we are happy and we know it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please go to letsrunners.org right away.
Let's get together. Let's thrive together. Talk with your pediatrician today about COVID-19 vaccination. This message is brought to you by the American Academy of Pediatrics.
It's an amazing thing when you show generosity of spirit to someone and you want people to be saved and to have a better life, then you don't stop.
The idea that we have saved 5 million people's lives, it's overwhelming. It's everything.
Hi, I'm Shaka Khan. And when I'm performing, I give it everything I've got. And I take the same approach when it comes to my health. That starts with knowledge. As a Black American, I know I'm at a higher risk for diabetes. More than 5 million of us are living with this disease and its complications. But we're less likely to get the latest technology to manage this dangerous disease. It's called CGM, Continuous Glucose Monitoring. Instead of a painful finger stick to check your blood sugar, you wear a small device that can give you glucose readings at any time. Now, let me tell you something good. CGM can make a big difference in bringing down your A1C. If you have diabetes, ask your healthcare professional if CGM is right for you.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. Well, there's so much they hold.
It's hard to imagine that this powerful, beautiful animal needs our help. But they are being killed for their skin and bones, and their homes are being destroyed. But there is hope. Tigers are at the heart of so many delicate ecosystems. When you protect a tiger, you also protect thousands of species and people that rely on the same habitat. That means protecting everything from mangroves that help fight climate change to safeguarding rivers and streams that provide fresh water to millions. All places that the tiger calls home.
Well, I won't give up. God knows I'm tough. He knows we got a lot to learn.
When we protect tigers, we all benefit. Learn how you can make a difference. Visit worldwildlife.org/tigers.
All let's rock and roll. Best of the weekend, and apparently baseball teams can't stop scoring runs. We'll take you to Colorado to start things. Teams score runs there at Coors Field. We know that. Well, the Angels did something that's just downright ridiculous. Not even Mike Trout hitting a home run, which is pretty pedestrian, although he hammered that to the deepest part of the park. It's what happened as this game went on. In the third inning, Trout started, made it 3-0. Home run there. So 4-0. Okay. I do like their home run hat they celebrate. Another home run here. If this gets the Rockies to burn those horrendous City Connect jerseys, maybe this will be the trick. Ohtani up. He doesn't hit a home run. He just gets a base hit. Look at the score, folks. It's went from 2-0. It's now 7-0 after Ohtani gets a hit. We're still in the same inning. It's 13-0. There's another home run. It's 15-0. They scored 13 runs in the third inning, did the Angels. The question now I have is, would you stay? Look at the score now. It's 20-0. You've got position players pitching. There's another home run. We're in the fourth inning. It went from daylight to darkness in one inning. 25-1. 25. The Angels scoring a record amount of runs. Here's the question I have. I am a diehard baseball fan, as people know. I would stay. Even if my team was the one giving up the 25. I'm not leaving. Pay a good amount of money. I'm not going anywhere. What's the threshold? I mean, if you're an Angels fan, do you stay the whole way? If you're the team that's getting your brains beat in, are you leaving? I imagine there's a lot of people leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm staying. I don't get a chance to see a whole lot of Major League games. I'm going. I'm not leaving, even if even if the weather is terrible, I'm not going. I'm staying. Some fans decided not to stay. I don't blame them. And by the way, the game still took under 3 hours. One team scored 25 runs. Still took under 3 hours. If you thought that was impressive, let me show you what happened in Omaha yesterday at the College World Series. LSU needed one win to win the national championship. They won Saturday night. So Florida had to win yesterday to get this to a deciding Game 3. The game was tied at 3 in the third inning. This is a grand slam from Will Langford, who had 5 hits in the game yesterday and 6 RBIs. Okay, so it's 7-3. Not the end of the world. It's college baseball. There are rallies that happen all the time. Move to the 6th inning. Ty Evans. Another one. Blast this one. I mean, these are not just creeping over the wall. Excuse me. They're not creeping over the wall there. That's a 3-run blast. Another one here in the 6th inning. They scored 6 in the 3rd, 5 in the 6th, 4 in the 8th, 5 in the 9th. They scored 24 runs yesterday, which is a men's College World Series record. And again, I ask you, when would you leave here? This is now 19-3 after this home run. Jack Caglione, who is the two-ways standout for Florida. He pitches. He's going to pitch tonight in the winner-take-all game. He had 2 home runs yesterday. Here's another one in the 9th inning to make it 20-3. Florida won 24-4 over the Tigers, excuse me. We will have a deciding Game 3 tonight in Omaha for the national championship. This is the final college sporting event of the year tonight in Omaha. I'll be watching this. It's going to be great. This has been the only game that's been a boat race in the College World Series. Every other game has been tight. Florida gets the most runs ever in a College World Series game, bashing 24 runs yesterday. If only the Minnesota Twins could score that many. But beggars can't be choosers. At least they won a series from the Tigers. Yesterday, wrapping up in Detroit. Kind of an ugly game is maybe the best way to describe it. Not as ugly as what happened with the Mets. We'll show you that later in the show. Donovan Solano has actually turned into a nice player. He and Willie Castro, my guy Brad Anderson, I think tweeted this out yesterday, and I'm right there with him. Solano and Castro have been nice pickups for the Twins. Solano there with a homer in the third inning to make it 2-0. It's a 2-2 game in the third when the Tigers go in front. The Twins decide to throw it all around the place. Just kind of shake your head at it. That gave Detroit the lead at 3-2. We go to the top of the eighth inning now. Craziness here because Detroit decides to throw it all around the barn. As Royce Lewis is safe on the air there, as Castro safe. Royce Lewis would score. Then Lewis delivers here with a base hit in the top of the 10th. Correa barely beats the throw in. That gives the Twins a 4-3 lead. They would go on and beat Detroit 6-3 in extra innings, so they take the series from the Tigers. As they get set now, they've got Atlanta looming tonight. But in the process, they're back over 500. A commanding 2-game lead in the AL Central after taking 2 of 3 over the weekend. 5.5 up on the Tigers. And then this week, folks, it is brutal. It's Atlanta and then Baltimore. Last time I checked, those teams are good. Before we go on our best of the weekend, it's my dad's birthday today. So happy birthday to my pops. We'll give a proper shout out later in the show. But this weekend, if you saw it, Fox had the games over in London. The Cardinals and the Cubs were playing across the pond. And it was the debut for Fox having its studio show that now has Kevin Burkhardt. It has Alex Rodriguez, David Ortiz, and Derek Jeter made his debut. And Big Papi had a present for Jeter. I think this is perfect for my dad.
But you know what? I got a gift for you.
Oh, okay. You went shopping?
From all of us, you know. Open it up, Cap. Come on.
Oh, so nice, so touching. Nice, great teammate. Oh, oh!
Turn it around, man.
Turn it around. Oh!
Come on, man.
A Derek Jeter Red Sox jersey. It's been a great time spending with you guys here. You won't see me anymore. Well, it's my last day. It's been a good 24 hours. You're unbelievable.
Oh, that's good. Papi's good on TV. He's really good. It's yet to be seen if Jeter's going to be any good. A-Rod is way better in that than he is in the booth. But that was pretty good. Papi is responsible for Jeter having one less ring, obviously, for 2004. Or else Jeter would have had another one that year. Good stuff there. We'll take a break. We come back. Jeff Kolpack will be by. We'll recap what we saw on the golf course yesterday and a big Bison football weekend. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns right after this.
Stay prepared for the days and nights ahead with the best weather team. Download the Storm Tracker app, powered by Laney's. Get alerts and updates straight from the WDAY Storm Tracker team. With accurate weather reports specific to your area. Just search WDAY in the Apple or Google Play Store. Download the Storm Tracker app and be ready to plan your day. The Storm Tracker app, powered by Laney's. Download it today.
On the next Cameron Hall, his voice has captured the attention of country superstars Luke Combs and Mickey Guyton and millions on TikTok. We're calling it here.
Tony Evans Jr. It's been a whirlwind. You're going to be the biggest star in country music.
Oh, you can't say stuff like that.
He makes his TV debut with an unforgettable performance for the Tam Fam.
Now you got me full ugly crying over here.
Next Cameron Hall.
Weekdays at 2 p.m.
Want to get out of just about anything? Use the environment excuse.
Dear housemates, due to the environmental impact of food waste, I'm eating all your leftovers. You're welcome.
Is that my shirt and pants and shoes?
I mean, I'm literally saving the environment.
Ooh, what's this about?
I'm just doing my part for the environment.
What did the sushi say to the bee?
Wasabi!
Gotta love an open mic carpool.
Less cars, more jokes.
Is that Mima's punch bowl?
We use way too much plastic. Think of the planet.
Who's the best princess?
The environment is the best excuse. Find an out and opt in to save the Earth. Just scan this code.
One more time before you wake up in the wild. In your eyes, I see a flower slowly dying.
Together with the Nature Conservancy, you have the power to make a difference. For unspoiled nature, for beautiful wildlife, and for people everywhere. Together, we can find a way to ensure that all life on Earth can thrive.
Oh, in the wild, you're gonna make it. The moonlight is here to take you.
Our natural world needs us now. Every day, we lose more lands, waters, and the wild species that depend on them. To learn more, visit nature.org today.
We need each other. Now more than ever. Because every someone needs someone else. We need each other. Because when we work together, we can do so much more. Like connect more children with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. We need each other. Because when you make someone's world better, you make everyone's world better. Child Fund, because we need each other.
It's that time. An author.
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2, I forgot.
Golfer.
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
And one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4! I should have yelled 2.
Here he is, folks. Jeff Kolpack leads us off each and every Monday on the big show, part of our coverage. Have you dried out from the last 3 days?
Wow, that was a challenge, wasn't it? Trying to...
That was a load.
So when I get in my car on Friday morning, and I probably had 7 layers ready to roll. And I remember last night getting home, and I looked in my back seat. I'm just taking out coats, rain gear, pants, just... you brought every little layer you could, and I think I wore most of them.
Yeah. I thought when we left on Friday, I thought there was no way, we're playing golf Saturday, that maybe if they got 36 holes in for a championship, that would be impressive. The fact that they got done at 5:30 last night and everyone played 54 holes was a testament to everybody out there that got done.
Pretty impressive job done by the Moorhead Country Club committee and the management and Chris Howell and squeegeeing. There was so much going on that we didn't see because I think I heard at one point on 7 green, they were just trying to squeegee and get it ready. I mean, so it was like dialing 911. Hey, we need people over at 7 green. It's underwater almost.
We had a couple shots and that was at 18 of squeegeeing going on there, but that's why we stopped play on Saturday. It wasn't because of lightning or anything like that. Just a couple holes were unplayable. The 7th being one of them that had gotten pretty bad, but thankfully that delay wasn't too long.
And then
on Saturday.
through it all, late in the day yesterday, I'm yelling, can somebody give me some sunglasses and sunscreen? I didn't think of bringing that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody thought that the sun was going to be coming out like it did. We showed earlier, we'll play it again, some of the highlights of what Josh Galvin did this weekend. You've covered that tournament forever, long before we had it on television when it was the KX. And I asking Larry Murphy yesterday, I don't think he's seen a better performance in the history of that event. 60 years to win by 10 shots, and the way he did it, Kolpack, 66, 67, 66. That's boat race material.
I don't know anybody's had 3 rounds in the 60s.
Yeah.
And it's a 60th year that this tournament's been going on. I know Larry couldn't think of anybody, and it's kind of dangerous to say that's the first time, but it is believed to be probably the first time. I mean, we're talking some players that have gone through there, from Tom Lehman to Mike Morley to Bill Israelson. I mean, there's been some great players. Dave, I mean, a lot of great players and pros, and this guy just tore it up.
For a guy that didn't even make NDSU's final
starting
5.
lineup.
Yeah, he could not get into the Bison lineup. And we saw the leaderboard that there was a host of Bison. It was 5 of them in the top 10. And Josh was number 6. That's what Murph was saying, and Steve Kenny said he was right there. This is a heck of a springboard to next fall for what potential he could do.
Pretty good confidence builder, and he answered that question from all of us. Like, okay, now can you take this and bring it to the next level in the Summit League and Division I college golf? And he said mainly, he feels his game's in a better spot than what it was. Won the Birchmont last year, which was a really good match play tournament. But there's no way he's had a 3-day run of stroke play like this.
I mean, and the thing was, we mentioned in the broadcast as well, he did not play in the bad weather on Friday. He didn't play in the bad weather on Saturday.
He goes 4 holes in rain. I put on my rain gear for 4 holes.
So
some guys didn't have 2 days without rain gear.
It, right. I mean, there was the Scarper group played constantly in the rain on Friday and Saturday. All they had was tough conditions. So, I mean, you don't apologize for when your tee time is, but you go out there and took advantage of it. And the one thing they all had to deal with the wind, and that didn't seem like it bothered him at all yesterday.
He did get into trouble yesterday until hole 17 when I got on the broadcast. Breaking news!
I know.
He's behind a tree and then he punches out to the fringe and sinks the birdie putt.
Right. I think we were all assuming when he was on the green. We asked you, okay, this is for par, and then this is a birdie, and then he drilled it after that.
One thing I didn't ask him, on 18, he took out his driver and went right into the woods. I think he was going for the course record.
Yes, we thought that as well in the broadcast.
We did. I didn't hear you
we were saying that. Come on, he's got to be, and that he wants to go 65.
He knew.
And that was the thing. We had the shot, and I don't have the piece of video here. After he came up short on 18, he looked up like he wanted that putt. He wanted that putt to drop for 65. We do have the piece of video that you wrote about in your story today at Inforum.com. What happened Saturday, where the WDAY tent saved his round.
I haven't seen this.
Now, we don't have the second shot, but the third, because you were right there to describe of what was going on, because of him finding his golf ball became an issue there because he was behind the green at number 3.
Yeah, cameraman Ryan Longnecker and I were on the right side of the green and waiting for the players to come up. And all of a sudden we hear this loud bang on our cart. I thought it was somebody from the driving range went way wayward and hit us. And it turns out that Josh's drive, he cut the corner, nailed us squarely in the front. The ball careened across the green by the TV, and then he got the drop here by the TV camera.
And then he ends up doing this where he put the ball this close to the hole.
Now, as you can see, the green, we were on the other side, and the ball went all the way across the green into the TV where this is being shot.
And then he makes birdie.
He makes birdie.
That's the kind of weekend he had.
Then later on, he came over and showed me the ball because our cart was silver and had a silver scuff on it. NDSU Pro V1 golf ball.
Wow.
I should have asked it for my man cave.
That tells you kind of the weekend he had.
Sometimes things are working for you.
Man.
Because if he doesn't hit our golf cart,
where's that ball going?
It's going into the driving range and maybe behind that tree or bush. Who knows?
Crazy stuff. That's crazy. I will ask you this, because you've covered this event for a while, as have I. It has been totally juiced up. It is really impressive to see what they do out there and the level of field that has come, which was always pretty good. It's at another level now, where I put it with the Birchmont and the Pine in terms of the elite summer events that happen in this part of the world.
Felt pretty big time, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because you have some of the best Division I players in the upper Midwest. And in the women's division, you get one of Grand Canyon University's best players in Arizona, although she's from Minot. I'd like to see more college Division I women's players
hopefully
latch onto this because it's a really good event and it's really good.
The course is tough too.
And it's good. I want to say not practice, but it's a good experience to be in such a top flight tournament in the summer. And I'd like to see more women's players.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be the case. Word of mouth is always the best, as you know, on that to get golfers talking, and I think that'll be the case going forward. It's a tough golf course too. It's not one. Galvin made it look easy, but I mean, we had 2 players under par besides him on the men's side. Nobody under par on the women's side. The best, we had 3 rounds total under par yesterday. No, 2, I'm sorry. It was Galvin and Ian Simonich. That was it. That was it.
So I made, at one point during the broadcast, I called the person who put in the pin angry.
Angry pin guy? Yeah.
Angry pin placement
location guy, yeah.
Well, he tracked me down near the alley. He goes, not that tough.
He's watching the broadcast over in the alley, right?
He goes, I didn't think I made him that tough.
That's fantastic.
I said, well, it's an 8-shot lead. I needed something to talk about.
11 was hard. There were 11 was hard.
A couple.
There were a couple of them that were really tough
Oh,
out
my
there.
goodness.
Galvin made him look ridiculously easy out there.
But again, it's Championship Sunday, so deal with it. I mean, you make them earn the victory, and the Moorhead Country Club, the way it was set up, the top tournament, U.S. Open, they don't make easy pin placements. The Master, and they don't make easy pin placements.
The U.S. Open did in the first round because we had 2 62s that happened there.
They said, oh. Then they got
screwed
then
up
they
there.
found angry pin placement guy.
Did, because by Sunday, things were pretty tough there. Let's take a break. We come back. Got some Bison football news to chat about.
That's still going on?
Including a very interesting story out of Boise made by their lead football columnist. We're going to discuss that. We wrap up Hour 1 with Jeff Kolpack right after this.
Smile for Grandma.
When you're living with low vision, life can be a challenge. Everyday tasks and the things you love to do can become difficult and feel impossible. If you're 55 or older and your world has gotten smaller because of vision loss, it's time to be bold. Time to Be Bold is helping people like you with low vision regain your independence. Go to timetobebold.org for a list of services in your state that will give you the tools, technology, training, and support you need to live your bold, best life. Join others who found a bright, bold future. Go to timetobebold.org. Help is here. Go to timetobebold.org today.
What if there was a place where every kid got a chance to be great? There is a place, and there's no other place like it. It's my school, Milton Hershey School. Our founders were Milton Hershey, the famous chocolate maker, and his wife Catherine. They wanted to help children who didn't have much, to create a place that was safe. The Hersheys believe learning shouldn't have a price, so we don't pay anything to go to school here. Everything we need is taken care of, even a place to live with other students our age, with caring house parents to watch over us. In our homes, we learn to accept and appreciate one another, because the things that make us different bring us together. Our classrooms, they have no walls. We learn by doing, through programs that give us an early start on college and our careers. You see, we're more than a school. We're a community. We change lives. I know, because this place changed mine. Milton Hershey once said that if he could provide for 100 kids, it would be worth it. But look at us now, more than a century of memories. And there's still more good to do. Because here, we have the chance to be great. And you can be next.
After I lost my mom, I was depressed and resentful. I couldn't find my way, but I am not lost.
I should know. I work in behavioral health for youth advocate programs. YAP. I empower Blessing with tools so she can see her strengths and set positive goals.
As a little kid, I experienced trauma and I acted out. Made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
No, she's a good student and a great kid. As Jalen's YAP advocate, I'm always here for her.
We need YAP. The youth and the communities, they need strong support systems. I try to help the youth understand if you have a change of mindset, you can have a change of action.
YAP gives communities alternatives to residential care, youth incarceration, and neighborhood violence. After completing our program, nearly 90% of participants remain in their community. YAP works.
And now I'm finding joy and excited about my future.
Youth advocate programs. Others talk social change. We make it happen.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Keep chasing the sunshine and go out and play.
July 7th through July 16th. Live for today and chase the sunshine at the 2023 Red River Valley Fair. Celebrate the 10 best days of summer. Get your tickets today.
Welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up hour one on this Monday morning. Jeff Kolpack back with us.
Can I have a request from you and others that cover FCS football?
Yeah, bro.
Quit counting down the days until football starts. Can you at least can we at least enjoy the month of July?
You're going to Pebble Beach. I don't want to hear another word out of you, all right?
Oh, forgot about that.
Okay?
Yeah.
By the time you get back, it's going to be football going. By the way, football doesn't stop. You know that.
It's a business trip down Pebble Beach.
It's a business trip. You'll be there next week. Next Wednesday, you said you're leaving for Pebble?
Covering Amy Olsen in the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach.
Awesome.
Talked with her and Grant last week. And she's never played it. And I always, with her pregnancy, it was going to, what was her words? If I have to waddle up there,
that's what she
I will
said,
do it.
yeah.
And she's going to play.
Fantastic. And looking forward to that. That's going to be awesome.
I hope she plays well.
Yeah.
It's a tough course, but she plays tough courses well. She likes the tough conditions of the U.S. Women's Open or other majors. So it's not going to intimidate her, I'll tell you that.
I asked her, I don't know if I got an answer out of this, though, that this is going to be it, right? This is the last event, but we don't know when.
Nope.
Going to be back.
I asked her that.
Yeah.
She said, I'm non-committal.
Yeah.
And so what you take from that is if she wants to make a comeback, then it's at the time.
Do you think this is it?
It's
possible.
This
could be it?
It's possible. Yeah, you cannot take that off the table.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I think we as Forum Communication should be there. Is there's a chance this could be her last pro tournament.
I hope not, because
I hope not
love
too.
watching her play.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think she's such a competitor that I don't think it will be, but the possibility exists.
Yeah, I don't, just because we've all seen her grow up. You know, she won a USG event. She won the women's junior in 2009, which is now crazy. That's 14 years ago when she did that. To have the unparalleled success she had in college, to go on. She led the women's open when she was still in college in 11 out in the Broadmoor. I don't want this to be over, but you don't blame her if she wants to go and start a family either.
I've said this for years with her, that she's the nicest person ever, and just so gracious with her time and respective of the public and all her fans. But man, when she steps on that course,
that's the switch is flipped there.
It's business, man.
No
yep. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You cannot discount, and I know you'll write about this, that the impact she's had on girls golf in this area. You cannot.
Immeasurable.
Cannot. For the Avery Bartels that we saw out there yesterday from Kindred, North Dakota, looked up Amy Olsen was number one with a bullet, that was her number one hero. The reason why she's having the success that she's having in high school and probably in collegiate golf is because of Amy. And there's countless others on that.
Immeasurable. Yep.
I hope that's not over. But we're looking forward to that stuff coming up next week. A couple stories I want to hit on before we go. First, we're going to hear from Mojo Weerts here coming up in a few minutes. The Bison dip back into the portal, and Matt Etz has told us this numerous times. They are only going to go into the portal to get somebody they know or they have some sort of connection to. And this hit both of them because they knew him and they have a connection with Luke Weerts' younger brother.
Love his name. Anybody
Mojo,
with the name Mojo? His name's Matthew, but he goes by the nickname Mojo. He was down, and when his last two picks were Arizona and NDSU out of high school, and went to Arizona, obviously Pac-12, recruited by former head coach Kevin Sumlin. So when Sumlin left and who's Jed Fish comes in.
Fish is the guy.
Well, now the recruits from the previous regime, you're kind of on little shaky ground maybe. And it never took off at Arizona. It just never really got a chance for whatever reason. Maybe it was a different philosophy or recruits or whatever. But he's certainly got a lot to prove.
Well, he was a 3-star kid out of high school. He told me on Friday he's going to play defensive end. He's not going to play linebacker, which I think maybe some on the inside thought, well, he's going to give him some more guys there at linebacker. That is not going to be the case. He's going to play defensive end, which he did in high school, and he was a very good high school player.
Do we think he's big enough?
I think so. I mean, it's 6'2", 220, he told me right now. I mean, if you want a speed guy on the edge, what do they have at that spot right now? Loshaka Rokes isn't a big dude, and he's going to be their defensive end. Hunter Zenzen's in that spot. Another transfer they got another brother coming in from Iowa State. I think so. I think he's got the athleticism, and he said it to me. He's coming. My goal is I'm going to be on the field come September 2nd against Eastern Washington. That's a spot where they need some help, Jeffrey. I think at defensive end, that's what they lost with Spencer Wagee, Tony Pierce going into the portal. There are openings there.
And we think one of the reasons Tony Pierce transferred is because he got beat out.
Yeah. The older Zen now that came here, from what all intents and purposes, is that he was garnering more reps. Dylan Hendricks, do you imagine, is going to get some more run at a spot where he's still kind of learning the position there? I think it's worth the gamble on it if it is one for NDSU.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a gamble when you get a three-star kid who's still relatively young in his career.
I mean, he has 3 years of eligibility left. He played 2 games at Arizona. He redshirted in 21. And he played 2 games last season. So he's still really green and has a chance. I mean, on a Bison defense, there are reps to be earned out there.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
There are openings, as you say, in the defense, especially for a top 2 in the depth chart.
Lastly, before we go, I saw this yesterday, and it actually took me back from the Idaho Statesman. Headline, Bison or bust. Mountain West should pursue North Dakota State if San Diego State bolts. This is written by Ron Counts, who covers Boise State.
Now, did Mike McFeely write that and send that to Ron Counts?
Is that
his name?
Under a different name there?
Is Mike McFeely's pen name Ron Counts?
What do we make of this? This is the guy who covers Boise State.
He has all sports on there. I think. Go ahead.
Listen to this. This is what he wrote. North Dakota State's brand is the strongest in the FCS, and it isn't even close. The Fargo Dome is one of the more unique venues in the country. Just imagine the Bison playing on the blue and Boise State invading the Dome the following year. The Broncos' first trip to the Fargo Dome in program history could easily be one of the most watched Mountain West games of the year. Sign me up. I've been saying this for 4 years. Sign me up on that.
Sign me up.
UND's going to the Blue Turf this September, and I'll be watching. There'll be a ton of Bison fans. They'll deny it to the nth degree. They'll be watching that game in Boise, saying that's where we want to be.
I think the fan base certainly swayed and it's taken a while, and it's taken longer than you and I and Mike, but the fan base has swayed to the FBS equation.
The Bison are cut from the same blue-collar mold as Boise State, Wyoming, and Air Force, and there isn't much more for them to accomplish at the FCS level. Bang!
I like to see it football only. I think the Summit's perfect for the other sports.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. But I think if the Mountain West, Hawaii's football only. I mean, they do have that. So you take your outer westernmost school as a football only, and your outermost eastern school as a football only, and you got nice balance, and both are state schools, and you got Wyoming. Look, the number of state schools in the Mountain West.
It's attractive there.
NDSU looks more like them.
Right.
Although I like the American.
I do too.
But NDSU doesn't look like those schools.
The schools that are in there is an odd mix of privates and publics, and not necessarily land grants either that are in there, that in the American.
So I'm flying into San Jose next week, and I'm going right to the president's office at San Jose State and going,
hey,
sir,
would you like to go to Fargo?
What's it take? Hey, I got out here before 10 in the morning. It's not that far of a trip.
Well, for football, they fly anyway. That should not be a concern whatsoever. If the Mountain West is looking for adding another, I hate this term, national brand, North Dakota State fits that. If they're looking, I totally agree with him on the Boise NDSU factor. That would be cool. And if they want to do it where Hawaii and North Dakota State are normal travel partners, sign me up.
I was reading, while I was reading that column, and he started talking about the 9 national championships, and it just sort of hits you. Man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
There's really not much left to accomplish in that subdivision, like it pointed out.
And that's why we're at where we're at with the attitude, the tepidness around Bison football right now. We're almost to July 1, which normally, to me, is when the ramp up will start.
And that's when,
I don't know if it will.
Well, that's when season tickets are made available to the public. And
I'm interested.
What I'm hearing is season ticket base will be close enough to last year, but they've lost those 3, 4, 5,000.
They lost the people that they got from 2012 to 2016 that said, we have to be here every single Saturday.
Think, and as you think, and as a lot of people think, the best way to get them back is to go FBS.
Yes.
They will come back.
You're not going to get it by the Citadel. You're not going to get it by these destinations. I don't even know, Jeff, what Eastern Washington's going to be at U.S. Bank Stadium. They were hoping for 40. I don't know if they're going to get 20.
It's not going to be 40.
I don't know. Is it going to be 20? I don't know.
No.
That
could
may
feel
not
empty.
be great.
That
Right.
could feel empty in that
real
place.
empty. Especially if you see him T Swift in there this weekend with 63,000. If they only get 20,000, that's not ideal.
I watched Minnesota Duluth baseball a year ago play there in front of a couple hundred. Whew,
Yeah.
If it's just a third full.
They got 35,000 at Target Field. I think that's
that field is not nearly as big as U.S. Bank.
No, I mean U.S. Bank will seat 65, but I'm just saying for the number, can they even get to 35? I think that seems way high right now.
I think so too. I think and people have figured out that Eastern Washington probably isn't
ain't going to be very good. I don't know. The tepidness around this is really interesting to me. Well, here comes another football season, Well,
athletics, you get this, right? And NDSU is on this for so long.
Yep.
You're going to see a dip at some point. Now you got to get it back.
The thing is, though, they're still good on the field. You know what I mean? It's not like they've dipped, and who knows? I think there are some out there that think maybe they won't be very good this season. I'm not one. I think they're still going to win 9 football games this year. At minimum, I think they're going to win 9 games. I'm just interested to see what is it going to take? I think you're right. We've been saying this. Only a conference, unless they get some sort of huge FBS game, and that's going to be for 6 years down the road. You know what I mean?
Well, Colorado next year.
Yeah, I mean that's great.
Yeah.
But what if I'm saying when they announce one, like they announced the Ducks game last year, like okay, great, that's not until 2028. I mean, when are they going to get excited about playing Dion? It's not till the end of this football season. Like, hey, we got Colorado coming. Oh, but it's not till 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's interesting to see what's going on.
And people, the Bison hardcore fans I know, they just go, Murray and Western back to back.
Right. It's brutal at home.
Yeah.
I mean, at least if you're going to Murray, Kentucky, well, hey, it's a new spot.
Maybe Murray is a new school, might give some sort of interest in a weird way, but.
I had the head coach on last week.
Murray?
Yes. I had Dean Hood on last week, and he said the coaches meeting they had last month, they said they put on some video of North Dakota State, South Dakota State playing. He says, my God, this is what we've got to play?
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. That's not ideal of what they got running.
I go back to when they were accepted that they made promises, Murray did, that they were going to upgrade their program in this, and this, and I would have I'd be serious doubts whether those will be met.
That comes on Saturday. They become official members of the Missouri Valley Football Conference Saturday at midnight when that happens. Great to see you. Good stuff all weekend. Hopefully you dry out.
That was fun.
Soon,
I hope we do it next year. That was a fun thing to do, and it's good for the community. It's good for the golfing world.
And it's cool for us, too. It's another thing to check off the list of things we did this year, from track to golf to volleyball. We did everything. I can't softball or pretty much nothing we didn't do. So if I don't see you beforehand, have a safe trip out there. Have fun out in Pebble. Right. There he is, Jeff Kolpack, joining us each and every Monday. We'll take a break. We come back. You'll meet Mojo Weerts and get the origin of the nickname. It's what Hot Mike when we start hour 2 right after this.
Stay prepared for the days and nights ahead with the best weather team. Download the Storm Tracker app, powered by Laney's. Get alerts and updates straight from the WDAY Storm Tracker team, with accurate weather reports specific to your area. Just search WDAY in the Apple or Google Play Store. Download the Storm Tracker app and be ready to plan your day. The Storm Tracker app, powered by Laney's. Download it today.
Now you see where we're going, right?
Stir up a giant pot of Greek-style chili and put it in a bag.
And then you shove a spoon in it.
Then,
I gotta be honest with you, I designed for myself.
Welcome to Clinton Kelly's house, where a dumpling dinner is on him.
I'm gonna dig right into that.
Plus, an inspiring story and surprise for Run DMC's Daryl McDaniels.
Oh my goodness.
Next, Rachel.
Weekdays at 3 on WDAY.
Let's raise a glass
To all the outdoor games, grilled food, family fun, and warm, starry nights. To friends, loved ones, and making new memories. This 4th of July, whether you're in the backyard, around a campfire, or on the beach, celebrate with Happy Harry's Bottle Shops. The 4th of July sale is on now at all Happy Harry's Bottle Shops. Please use our products in moderation.
Send your weather-related photos or video to the WDAY Storm Tracker team. Contact weather@wday.com or share them with us on Facebook and Instagram. Keeping an eye on the sky. The WDAY Storm Tracker team.
Where did the time go? Somehow I lost all those years. Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here. Or how did I get here? I can see now.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Dear moms and dads, we know it's not always been easy, and it's been a lot of hard work.
It's not worth trying.
What you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures.
It's not worth trying.
It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
Everything I do it for you.
Mom, love you always.
No, it's true. Everything I do it for
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
My fear was I wasn't going to be here to see my children grow up.
Through doing online activity, I found out about biomarker testing.
That gave me hope, knowing that I have that chance. Visit noonemissed.org for more.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody, to Hot Mike here, Monday morning edition, WDAY Extra, KSFL TV, Inforum.com. Always interested this week. We're, a week out from 4th of July. Parking lot's going to get empty around here. I'm sure people are taking vacation. I'm taking vacation again later this week. I'll be gone for this. You got to take it when you can. There's no time between August 15th and basically March 31st is out. So you got to take it between basically June 1 and August 1. That's what you learn in TV sports. That's when you got it. So excited about that coming up later this week. Later in this hour, you'll visit with NDSU's newest punter commit. Now, again, like I mentioned off the top, we don't normally talk to punters, but when they're 6'7" and haven't been doing it all that long, there's a story there. You'll meet Leighton Keilen from Lakeville South, Minnesota, coming up later on in our show. We visited about this just moments ago with Jeff Kolpack. Friday, the news broke that the Bison have added another player through the transfer portal. We've talked plenty about guys leaving. They have added quite a few now through the portal. The number is up to 6 of FBS transfers that have joined the Bison football roster for 2023. The latest is a guy they know. Now former Arizona linebacker Mojo Weerts. He's the younger brother of current Bison starting linebacker Luke Weerts, who hail from Batavia, Illinois. That's the same spot where the Bison got their QB commit for the class of 2024 in Ryan Bowe. I had a chance to visit with Mojo on Friday, after it became official, get his thoughts about why NDSU was the spot for him to go to.
After I had a pretty good spring ball, and after that, I just, I kind of evaluated my options and, evaluated if I really wanted to stay. And I think I made the best decision for myself. And I chose to leave because I wanted more playing time. And, I want to be great. And I think I can do that somewhere else. And I did have a lot of FBS, FCS schools reach out, obviously, but, it just came down to the fact that I know the standard up here. And I know through Luke, I know what the program's like. And I think the culture up here really matched what I wanted. So it was kind of an easy decision for me in the end of the day. But yeah, I kind of took, I've had a great deal of perspective from the past 2 years of being in college football. And I don't know, just kind of learning from my experience. I just knew what I wanted, and NDSU is everything I wanted.
Was it frustrating last 2 years?
I wouldn't say frustrating. It was a grind. I got on the field a little bit towards the end of the year, just on special teams. But, with the coaching change, I wasn't really recruited by them, stuff like that. So, and there's no ill will to Coach Fish or any of them. They did a lot for me. I still love all those guys. They provided me with a chance. Like Coach Fish never like turned us down or my recruiting class down. He accepted all of us. And, I think Arizona's on a great path, and I wish all the best for them. But, at the end of the day, I just kind of want to make a decision for myself. And, yeah, I don't know. I do think I wouldn't say frustrating is the word to use, but it definitely was, a little bit of a grind.
I remember talking with Luke when you were coming out about and how much it was. Hey, was NDSU talking? Can you go through the recruitment process, and how much did NDSU talk to you originally before you committed to Arizona?
Oh yeah. NDSU was on the top of my radar in high school. I knew, the standard, and I knew what it was like from Luke. And, I was choosing between Arizona and NDSU at the end of the day when I was coming out of high school. And yeah, I don't know. I just think I just love this place. I've been here for a month, and I've been working out with the guys and everything. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a complete flip. The culture change is a lot. I think the culture up here is amazing. So
when you told your brother you were going to do this, what was his reaction?
He was excited. And, I kind of knew if I put my name in the transfer portal, like I knew where I was going. There wasn't really too much thought behind it.
What was your conversation with Coach Entz about that? Like, describe that when I'm going to make this move. I'd like to come to NDSU. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I put my name in the portal and then reached out to Entz, and, yeah, we kind of just talked and about our goals and, what we want to do with this. And I'll be playing defensive end here. And, that's a good position change for me, I think. I played defensive end in high school a decent bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm, I think it comes a little natural to me. But, yeah, Coach Entz was all, he was fired up about it. I'm fired up about it. I like the energy out here. And, I want to bring Fargo back to Frisco. So we'll do that next year for sure.
Tell me what the last month has been like. Has it been like a whirlwind? Are you just like everything coming out of a fire hose, so to speak, or have you picked up things pretty quick?
I think I picked up things pretty quick. The defense is pretty similar. Obviously, like changing positions a little bit of a change for me, but other than that, like I think I fit in here a lot better than I did at Arizona, and I think the guys out here, I just like them. They're all cool. Everyone's supportive, and I just like how player led this program is, and I think. Yeah, I just think it's amazing what they got going on up here, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
I got to ask Mojo about the Batavia pipeline. You and your brother, Michael Caliendo, now Ryan Bowe's coming here. Tell me about that, about the Bulldogs coming to Fargo.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little surreal. Luke kind of opened the floodgates for everybody, but you know, it's yeah, I don't know, it's crazy. I'm excited about Bo. It's a good pickup. Bo's a great player. And you know, Mikey is actually one of my best friends from high school. So just seeing him succeed up here as well is that's awesome to see. And you know, he's obviously going on to Iowa, but you know, I know he enjoyed the heck out of his time up here. He loved it up here, and I know Luke obviously loves it up here, and you know, I already love it up here, and I think Bo will love it up here too. It's just between Batavia and NDSU, there's a lot of similarities, and it makes it feel like home.
Ryan said the same thing. Very similar about that. I mean, you've only had a month, but you agree with that? The similarities from home and Fargo are there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's definitely like a player-led culture at Arizona or at Batavia, and you know, it translates. I think Batavia Bulldogs translate well at NDSU. That's all I gotta say.
Coming back to last September, what was that like seeing Luke on the other side of the field, that moment after the game? I know you got a picture together. What did that live up to what you thought it would be? Obviously, I know you're excited. You guys won the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bittersweet, you know, seeing Luke out there. I didn't get to play that game, which kind of, you know, that was frustrating. But yeah, I mean, you know, it was hard to root. It was hard to root for Luke, but you know, I did in my heart. But it was surreal though, for sure. It was just seeing like the whole Bison team out here. It's just they're out of Arizona. It's like wow, they're actually here. It's crazy, and they were. Yeah, we at Arizona, I mean, we prepared for them a lot. Like they were taught, you know, Coach Fish told us like this is one we got to get, you know, this one will prove us. So, you know, just having NDSU being a program where even Power 5 teams are like, all right, we got to beat these guys. You know, that's saying something.
You feel like you've now experienced what big time college football is like. Obviously, you played in the Pac-12. Now you experienced a coaching change, the portal, that you've gotten the full college football experience in 2.5 years already.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, definitely. I mean, yeah, I guess my journey in college football is a little bit unorthodox. Not a lot of kids go through what I've gone through, but
I think maybe more now than normal.
You know,
there's probably more doing that now than normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy with the transfer portal and, you know, everything. Like even from when I was in high school, it's just completely different. Recruiting's different. It's wild. But yeah, I know I'm blessed for, you know, all the experience I've had, and I think it'll make me a better person in the long run. And I'm just ready to get to work and prove myself out here. And I want to be great. I want to be the next great Bison. So, you know, I'm working for that.
How excited are your parents now? It's just one trip.
Oh, yeah, they're feeling good about it for sure. We've got that like 3-week span where we're home, where we'll be home. So where they're coming out and they're gonna get an Airbnb or something, and we'll have the whole family out here for a little bit. It'll be a nice little family reunion in Fargo.
Before I let you go, just give me expectation-wise. You know, we're 6 weeks out from fall camp, about what your goal is to say, hey, I expect I want to be on the field September 3rd. I can help contribute right away when the season starts.
Yeah, that is my goal. I want to contribute right away. You just nailed it on the head. I want to make plays. I want to make impact plays, and I want to change the game up here. That's kind of my goal transferring. I wouldn't have put my name in the transfer portal if I don't believe in myself. No, I can't do it. So, you know, I have a lot of confidence, I think, in myself, and I'm ready to get after it. And, you know, I got a nice little chip on my shoulder too. So it's gonna be a good year.
Okay. Now your dad told me the origin of the nickname. I have to ask you, tell me about that. And does anybody call you Matt at all anymore?
So yeah, I'll start with who calls me Matt. My sister and my mom call me Matt, and that's kind of it. It feels weird when people call me Matt. It sounds like my mom's talking to me. But the origins of it is when I was like probably like 5 years old. My oldest brother, Ben, like threw me off a play set or something, knocked all my front teeth out. And then we were watching, me, Luke, and Ben were watching like Austin Powers or something one day. And he says Mojo all the time. And they're like, oh, he has bad teeth. We'll call him Mojo. And then from then on, like literally since I was so young, like I've just been called Mojo. So it's kind of become part of me. You know, I love it though.
Did any of your Arizona teammates actually know your given name, or did they just call you Mo? Did they know your name was Matt?
That was funny. My freshman year, Jerry Roberts, who's at UMass now, but he was one of the linebackers. He's like in the locker room one day. He's like, "Man, you lied to me. Your name's Matthew." And I'm like, "What?" Yeah, it's like no one knew my name was Matthew. Like everyone thought it was just Mojo. And it's the same up here too. I had people being like, "Is that actually your name?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, it is."
I appreciate the time, bud. It's great to get to see you. Look forward to seeing you on the at fall camp here in a little bit. Okay, appreciate you giving me a few minutes today. All right.
Yes, sir.
Conversation with Mojo Weerts. There you go. You've got it now. So for Bison football fans, when you get to see him come August 2 when they start fall camp, now you know the backstory there. He's a heck of a football player. Never really got to show it in Tucson. You get the sense, I think, when you listen to that interview, the frustration. I know he didn't call it frustrating, but I think you can sense it in his voice when talking about his experience in Tucson that clearly it didn't work the way he was hoping. And now he's got an opportunity here. And, you know, I hear constantly from people that bash the portal and don't like it and think it's the worst thing that's happened in college sports. I would point to these stories then as why I think there's opportunities here. Yeah, you're going to see players leave. North Dakota State has seen a host of guys leave. And we'll keep our eyes on them, all of them that left the 2022 team. See how they play in 2023, if they play in 2023. But you do have a number of drop-down guys that are here. Whether it be, and you've met them, I think most of them on the show, whether it be Marcus Shepard, Isaac Zedekiah from Missouri, to Hunter Zenzen. People know him from Barnesville. This young man from Arizona. It has the opportunity to replenish your roster with guys that Zenzen and Weerts were up there on the recruiting board for Matt Entz. That if they got them, that would have been over the moon beyond. They would have done laps around Fargo had they got them originally out of high school. And they decided to go to Power 5 schools, Iowa State and Arizona. And for whatever circumstances, it didn't work out. And now they are here. And it may work out, it may not. But you got to give it a chance. And I know for some that are like, well, how many more brothers are you going to take? Well, they know these guys. They recruited them. They recruited both of these guys out of high school. That's the common thread on this. Entz has said this on this show. We are only going to take guys that we either know or we have a connection to or somebody we know has a connection to. Isaac Zedekiah is another one. He was up here on a visit before he ended up committing to Missouri. Didn't work out there. Now, there is the old adage, and then we got to go to break, that people are transferring for a reason. Yep. You heard it. Weerts said it himself. He wants to play. He wanted playing time. And the counterpoint can be, well, if he was good enough, wouldn't he have been on the field already? I think there's something to that. Yeah. But sometimes, and I think this era proves it, when you have the extra year of COVID thrown in there, so if you have a free year of eligibility, that you have guys that are blocking your way to the field. How many times have we heard that? I think all the guys that left. Dom Jones is a great example. Dom Jones' major complaint was playing time, despite the fact that he played quite a bit and was going to start his final 2 years at NDSU. But he wasn't playing enough. That's why he left and went to Colorado State. You just heard Mojo Weerts saying playing time is a thing. And knowing that guys are coming back and using their extra year, blocking my way to the field. That was a huge thing for Hunter Zenzen. I can tell you that right now. I know that. And it shouldn't be discounted. He wasn't recruited by Jed Fish. He was recruited by Kevin Sumlin, who was fired right after signing day. There's a lot that goes into that, folks. Just saying. We'll see. Maybe these guys won't work out. And if they do, then these are home run pickups. These are like free agents out there. That's where we're at in Division I college football now. We're due for a break. We come back. As many times last year as I celebrated my favorite baseball team, we have to rip the Band-Aid off on what's happened in 2023 with the New York Mets. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns right after this.
On the next Cameron Hall, his voice has captured the attention of country superstars Luke Combs and Mickey Guyton and millions on TikTok. We're calling it here.
Tony Evans Jr. It's been a whirlwind. You're going to be the biggest star in country music.
Oh, you can't say stuff like that.
He makes his TV debut with an unforgettable performance for the Tam Fam.
Now you got me full ugly crying over here.
Next Cameron Hall.
Weekdays at 2 p.m.
Our job as community journalists is, more important now than ever. Without news, the community is not informed of the facts. They might be informed on social media, but they're not informed with the facts. Because community journalism keeps our government honest. It keeps decision makers honest. Covering our communities, covering the events going on in these towns, they're important. So, yeah, my work's not done.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Hi, I'm Susan Lucci. I never thought about heart disease until I had my own heart event. Please, listen to your heart. Learn more about the American Heart Association at helpheart.org.
For more than 30 years, I've lived with Graves' disease, the most common form of hyperthyroidism. All this time, I never knew I was also living with thyroid eye disease, or TED, a separate but related autoimmune disease that requires separate care. For years, I thought my eye symptoms, bulging, redness, pain, were part of my Graves' disease. But I recently learned that many people with Graves' disease may develop TED. That's why I'm telling you now, whether you've been living with Graves' disease for a long time like me, or were recently diagnosed, it's not too late to learn about TED. At the first signs of any changes in your eye symptoms, make an appointment with a TED eye specialist and request a comprehensive eye exam. My goal is to get you the care you need fast.
All right. You see, those are the up-to-date National League wildcard standings. The fact that the Marlins are safely in right now and the Dodgers aren't is eye-opening. My World Series pick, San Diego Padres, are 6.5 games out. The Cardinals are bad. The Cardinals are 13 games under 500, right? That would be headline if not for the New York Mets are also there, 7 games under 500. And what happened yesterday in Philadelphia is all you need to see. Let's play it for what happened yesterday. Now, the Mets lost the opener. They won Saturday, so they're going for a series win. My guy Pete Alonso loves playing the Phillies. Opposite field blast. You see it. It's a 6-3 Mets lead in the 7th inning. And then they go to their bullpen. Here's a bases-loaded walk. That's great. Okay. Not end of the world. It's 6-5. Still have the lead. Now Kyle Schwarber's up. Gets hit by a pitch. That brings in the tying run. And it's 6-all. Now Trey Turner's up. And he gets hit with a pitch. That brings in the go-ahead run. Back-to-back hit by pitches with the bases loaded. If Jeff Brigham is on the Mets team today, it's the worst move ever. Gary Cohen, who calls the Mets games on television, called it the most horrific loss of the year. And they've had some bad ones. Literally a team that won 100 games last year. They may lose 90 this season. The way they're going. They have a $450 million payroll, and they are 7 games under 500. They begin a series tonight with the Milwaukee Brewers at Citi Field. If they don't win the series against Milwaukee, the Mets will have gone the entire month of June without winning a series. Let me say that again. If they don't win 3 of 4 against the Brewers, they'll have gone the whole month without winning one series. $450 million will get you 8 or 9 games under 500. And if the Padres weren't... It's New York, so they're automatically going to get all the lightning bolts because San Diego should be getting a lot of this too, and they're not because it's in San Diego. Because the Padres, I think, are just as much a disappointment as the Mets are. You heard me, Troy Cody. They are. They've spent a gajillion dollars there. They traded everybody, and they stink. Benell's going to rip this on me because I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, and we're not going to see one another. So if the Brewers win this series, which I'm sure they will, they're going to go all of June without winning one single stinking series. Unbelievable. After it all started when Aaron Rodgers got traded to the Jets. It's A-Rod's fault because neither of my teams can be good at the same time. It's never happened. The only time it happened was 10 years before I was born, 1969. The Jets won the Super Bowl and the Mets won the World Series. It's never going to happen again. So if the Jets are going to be good, the Mets have to stink. The Mets were good last year, and the Jets won what? They won 7 games and couldn't score a touchdown for the final 4 weeks of the season. That's how it works. You can't have both. It's physically impossible for fans of those franchises. Unbelievable. We'll break. We come back. We'll meet one of the more unique storylines surrounding a Bison football player for this upcoming year. You'll meet 6'7" Leighton Keilen when Hot Mike returns right after this.
Save on your automotive needs with 11% off at Menards. Turtle Wax Max Power Car Wash provides maximum strength cleaning. The more wash you use, the stronger the cleaning power becomes. It's just $5.99 after rebate. Get superior engine protection with Valvoline Advanced Full Synthetic Motor Oil. It promotes fuel efficiency and excellent engine cleanliness. Pick up a 5-quart jug for $22.99 after 11% rebate at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
There's no one better, yeah, I know.
Came up with an
idea.
What's your idea?
We tell them that we're about to watch
Did you
discuss.
make props? Is that what you were doing this morning?
Next live, move over, Mark. Ryan Seacrest joins Kelly as a guest co-host with Winston Duke.
Very chic.
Thank you.
Very stylish.
You're very much into fashion.
I think
style,
you guys
right?
should
keep going.
Plus, Carson Kressley.
Buckle up.
Weekdays at 9 a.m.
In June of 1953, WDAY television went on the air for the first time. But the heart of WDAY is the members of the staff. Through the years, it has been the talent and dedication of staff members that have contributed to this station's successes. No one can forecast the next 50 years for WDAY Incorporated, but we remain dedicated to our original principle of serving our area with information and entertainment to make sure it all comes out just right for all the folks at home.
Sarah, you've got this, okay?
You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast, to be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. But I wonder what would happen if you say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you embrace what you want to say.
But they lost.
Not really. Not where it counts.
What is your emergency?
Every day we encounter people who are having the worst day of their entire lives.
Does it get any easier?
Nope.
It takes a certain kind of person to run towards danger rather than run away from it.
Why is this job so important to you?
Growing up, I never saw any heroes who looked like me.
And that's what a hero looks like.
Help is on the way.
Sundays at 8 p.m.
Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mike here rolls on Monday morning edition, WDAY Extra, Inforum.com, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls. We mentioned earlier in the show, as we're in the midst of recruiting season, the Bison are busy. They've already added another commit over the weekend for the class of 2024, but they're not done for 2023. We mentioned there's a couple more transfers coming in, some late additions to the team, including our next guest, which is one of the more unique stories that I've seen in a long time in my years covering Bison football. Leighton Keilen is a punter from Lakeville South who up until about 3 days ago was heading somewhere else. And now, turns out he's coming to Fargo. He'll be here probably the next few weeks, part of the Bison football team for this fall, for the fall of 2023. And he's good enough to join us here this morning. I mentioned you're from Lakeville South. The Bison have quite a few guys from Lakeville North. Is that going to work, or do you have to, like, do some handshakes? What's going to happen here when you get on campus?
I don't think there'll be any problems. We'll all be on the same team. Actually, haven't talked to the guys from Lakeville North who are going up to North Dakota. I haven't talked to many of them, so don't really know them. I'm excited to get home when I get up there.
What is the rivalry there? I've seen it from afar. You lived it. What is it like between South and North?
You know, the day before, you're best friends. and you play in the next day, and you guys hate each other for the night. You wrap it up, whoever wins, and then the next day you're best friends again. It's a lot of fun, a big atmosphere, a lot of fans come to the games. It's always a good time.
Which sport, Leighton, is it the most intense? Is it football? Is it hockey? Which one is the one that sets it off?
Football probably gets the most fans, but I'd say hockey games are probably the most competitive.
Now, I ask you this because you played hockey. You were a goaltender. Was hockey always number one? And when did football become a thing?
So hockey was my number one sport. Thought I'd be playing hockey up in college. Till my freshman year, I was watching YouTube with my little brother. We saw a guy named Destroying. He's a kicker. He played at Central Florida, and he had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he wanted to go to the NFL. It was like he was doing a training lesson. And then me and my dad and my brother grabbed the football, went out to the field. He started kicking some field goals, and I fell in love with football ever since that day.
That's wild. And you also I should let people know, you are 6'7". When did the growth spurt happen? And was basketball never an option?
Never played basketball. Growth spurt probably happened like 8th grade.
Okay.
I think I was 6'4", 6'5" in 8th grade.
Holy cow.
And, stopped growing probably like sophomore year. So I've always been pretty tall.
So give us an active timeline. How long have you actually been kicking, punting? Like, how long have you actually been doing this?
For punting, started last summer. I kicked since freshman year, but I started punting last summer. I started punting right before I went to the NDSU camp. So I showed up to the NDSU camp, was not very good, and probably had one of the worst performances out of anyone at the whole camp. And just went there, really, I went to the campus, met with the coaches, saw how good some of the other kids were, and it just really motivated me, and went home, knew exactly what I had to do. I said, hey, I know I can get there. I know I'm really far away, because I was shanking probably almost every punt.
No kidding.
Went home, and I talked to my dad, and I was like, I want to do this. I know how I can do it. Let's work at it.
So this time last year, you came up here and said, okay, it was not good. So now you're here a year later and you're coming. I mean, describe that you've been able to do this in a year's time.
I'm super proud of like the journey and how much I've put into it. For my senior season, I played JV for almost every single game. And now to have the opportunity to play Division I football at multiple schools, it's unreal. Super proud to be here, and all the work I've put into it. It's cool to see it pay off, and it's cool to live out one of my dreams, because NDSU was one of my top schools beforehand. My top 3 schools wanted to play at the Gophers, the Badgers, or NDSU. So, with such an unorthodox journey, I'm super grateful to kind of get to the end and just take a deep breath and I feel like I kind of accomplished my goal, but now I'm just getting my foot in the door, so I'm super excited to get up to NDSU, learn all I can, and become a better punter.
So you had a couple other offers. When those happened, was that like the red light, like, holy cow, like somebody thinks I can do this? Like, just when you got the other offers, what was that moment like?
I always knew I could do it. So I was playing JV, and I knew I was going to be a Division I punter, and I knew at the time I wasn't good enough. I told all my friends, it's like, I'm going to be a Division I punter. Told all my family members, and my first Division I offer came 2 weeks after the season. My last game of my senior season, I didn't even play. Like, I didn't even touch the field once, so just to get that first offer, it felt really great. I remember me and my dad were running around the house, super happy. It's just super cool to see the work pay off, and I knew I could do it. So it's cool to see somebody else believe in me as well.
Okay, so NDSU knew about you, and clearly the first impression didn't go so well. So tell us about when they came back around and how this all came about now.
So my head coach told me they'd be calling me, and I hadn't punted for 3 months, and then Coach Olson texted me or called me that night, and he said, I'm going to be coming to Lakeville South tomorrow. I'll see you punt. And I said, no problem. Let's do it. Hadn't punted in 2 or 3 months. Went out that same night. He called me, went out with my dad to the field, and we just kicked a couple balls. And showed up the next day to South. It's pouring rain, super windy, super cold. Coach Olson asked me, hey, do you want to reschedule? And I tell him, no, coach, I'm ready to go right now. So we went out to the field, super windy, super rainy, kicked some footballs, and I guess Coach Olson was impressed and ended up getting the offer like a week and a half later. So I committed to him on the phone. He called, Coach Entz called me. He said, we'd love for you to be a Bison. And I said, I can't wait to be one. Committed right away. And that was 2 weeks ago, I believe. Announced that on my Instagram 2 weeks ago. Forgot to put it on my Twitter until like recently. So.
That's fantastic. How did you feel like you kicked that day in the rain and the wind?
I went home with my dad and I was kind of disappointed. I didn't think it was my best performance, but I had some really big punts. I think I had one that was like 75 yards in the air. So I knew I wouldn't be surprised if they offered me, but I wasn't 100% confident in it. But I guess it worked out in the end.
I know you tweeted out a couple weeks ago you got to work out with the Vikings punter and Ryan Wright. What was that like? What was that experience like for you?
It was super cool. I'm super grateful he took the time to come out. I was actually having a training lesson with Aaron Perez at the Punt Factory. I was with him and another punter. And then Aaron Perez trains Ryan Wright. So he was in town to train Ryan Wright, and he ended up, listening with us. And Ryan Wright called him in the middle of the lesson. And he was like, hey, what are you doing? And Aaron was like, I'm in the field with kids. And Ryan said, I'm going to come make these kids' day. And he stopped what he was doing and he drove out to the field to come punt with us.
Wow.
And, it's super cool because, as a punter, you obviously look up to the Minnesota. Like, I love the Minnesota Vikings. So to have the Minnesota Vikings punter come out, give me some tips and spend some time with us, it was super cool.
That's really
super
neat.
Good experience.
I have to ask, Leighton, at your height, what kind of advantage do you think you have at punting? Mike Dragosevich, former Bison punter, I think he's 6'7". He always told me it takes a little bit longer just because of how tall he is. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so there's a couple disadvantages to it as well as advantages. Obviously, longer levers, bigger punts, but longer legs, bigger steps.
Right.
So I've really worked on being compact and being fast. So in high school, the reason I didn't play as much in high school was because I had bigger steps. Like, I was still hitting great punts. Like, I was hitting big punts in high school, but my steps were too long, and the coaches were worried about us getting blocked.
Yep.
So I really worked a lot on keeping compact steps. So trying to cover 2 to 3 yards a punt and just working on my operation time. So the big thing for being tall with me is just keep it short, keep it fast, and then I don't need to be taking big, long steps and big swings because I have a big leg. I have a long leg, so I can just use my leverage, keep it short, and do it that way.
Now, before I let you go, just it seem all like kind of you have to shake your head like this is actually happening. Like, I'm going to box up and I'm coming to Fargo here. Like, I know this was the dream, but it's another thing to actually live it out. I mean, have you sat and thought like, holy cow, like this is going to happen?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to seem a lot more real when I'm up at campus, but I always knew this was going to happen. Like, I always knew. I've never doubted myself. I've always been confident I would achieve the goal. I wasn't 100% sure it'd be at NDSU or what school it would be at, but just to get here after like the journey I've been through and just the unorthodox way. I feel like it'll kick in more when I'm up at Fargo, but right now I'm just super excited. I mean, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that I actually did it, but I'm not surprised that it happened because I've put so much work into this.
Before I let you go, what has Coach Entz told you about opportunity when you get here and trying to get on the football field? Have they told you anything about that yet or no?
Yep. So the plan is, because Keilen, great punter, he's been doing a great job for the Bison. So the plan is to redshirt me my first year, and then I believe Keilen has 2 years of eligibility. So redshirt my first year and then do my best to compete my second year is the plan.
Well, man, this is so much fun to get a chance to meet you and hear about this. This is I knew it was going to be a different story, and I appreciate you sharing it. Congratulations. Enjoy the last little bit of freedom before you get up here, and look forward to meeting you in person in a couple months, okay?
All right, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. There he is, Leighton Keilen from Lakeville South, 6'7" punter, who will be adding to the Bison football roster for the class of 2023. What a neat story there, and kind of a unique deal. And it's interesting that he came up here, did not go well, and found a way, got better at it, and now he's going to be playing Division I football. Pretty cool stuff there. We'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show and get you ready for a busy Sports Monday. We'll do that when Hot Mic wraps right after this.
For over 25 years, Window World's provided quality products for homeowners around the country. Entry doors from Window World are designed to resist extreme weather conditions and styled to create the perfect focal point for the lifetime of your home. Trust Window World.
With Window World 0% financing, you can get a finished entry door with glass insert and hardware fully installed for as little as $167 per month.
Improving homes, changing lives.
Window World of Fargo.
Let's raise a glass to all the outdoor games, grilled food, family fun, and warm, starry nights. To friends, loved ones, and making new memories. This 4th of July, whether you're in the backyard, around a campfire, or on the beach, celebrate with Happy Harry's Bottle Shops. The 4th of July sale is on now at all Happy Harry's Bottle Shops. Please use our products in moderation.
While serving in Afghanistan, I was hit by sniper fire. The fighting was so intense, the medevac chopper was barely able to land. In the hospital, I was given a 5% chance to live. It's a good thing math wasn't my best subject. Today, I visit classrooms and share my story. I talk to kids about dealing with life's struggles. I tell them, with a little help and a lot of work, that you can overcome any challenge.
DAV helps veterans like Adam get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
I know that some struggles are big and some are small, but they're all struggles, and you have to learn to get through them. With support from DAV, more veterans like me can live their best life. And as a new father, I have one more reason to keep on keeping on. My victory is being there for the next generation.
Adam Alexander, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
What is lost when a home is denied? When equality is cast aside just because the family doesn't look like you or cook like you? Or because they identify as LGBTQ? Maybe it's because of how they talk or how they walk. It's not fair. It's not their place to reject you because of your race or the obstacles you face. Make you struggle to find a lender because of your gender? Housing discrimination has no place in our nation.
Equal access and equal opportunity are core American values. Don't let housing discrimination stop you. If you believe you've been denied a home because of your race, color, religion, national origin, familial status, disability, or sex, including gender identity and sexual orientation, go to HUD.gov/fair housing to file a complaint.
Teen depression. A lot of kids are dealing with it today. So, what's behind it? Well, there's the question. Are they depressed because they have bad grades? Or do they have bad grades because they're depressed? A relationship goes bad. Getting bullied. Maybe there's more than one reason. Maybe there's no reason at all. Whatever's behind it, teen depression can be overwhelming and isolating. But it doesn't have to stay that way. If you're feeling off your game right now, it's time to jumpstart your comeback. Time to take charge and take the first step. Visit yourlifeyourvoice.org. You have the strength to turn things around. Make your move.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today.
Experience the 10 best days of summer at the Red River Valley Fair, July 7th through the 16th. Get your Mega Pass today with unlimited gate admission and an unlimited ride pass for one low price. Celebrate the 10 best days of summer. Get your Mega Pass today before July 6th at redrivervalleyfair.com.
Dom, if you ever not show me a 67 on your countdown, we're no longer friends. How is Tanner the pride of Belfour, and how am I the pride of Belfour? There's only like 20 people. You got to pick one, my man.
That's pretty good. I just saw this video this morning. Logan Campbell was out in Harvey, I think it was, for Cordell's camp. And apparently, she asked about the countdown, which today we're at 68. So tomorrow is 67. So now I've got to I already had something good. Now I'm going to have to up it even more so. Yes, we had 74 last week for his older brother, Tanner. I think I called Cordell the pride of Balfour in the final game he played at the Dome in the regular season in 2021. I have to go back and check that. That's good stuff. Thanks for sharing that. That was fun. All right, let's do what to watch before we get out of here. As I mentioned off the top of the show, we have the final college sporting event coming up tonight, as it's Game 3 of the Men's College World Series in Omaha, LSU and Florida. All SEC championship game to complete the season. LSU won Saturday, close game. Florida won by 20 runs yesterday. Let's hope we have a tight, competitive game tonight. Under-over is 9. 6 o'clock, ESPN, LSU, Florida, to wrap up the college baseball season on ESPN. Should be a dandy in Omaha. Minnesota Twins will continue their 9-game roadie after they took 2 of 3 against the Detroit Tigers. They head to Atlanta to take on the Atlanta Braves. Anytime they play the Braves, everybody will think of 1991. It's inherent. It'll be Spencer Strider starting for Atlanta. And I can tell you as a Mets fan, he's really good. Strider is 8-2 on the season, ERA just under 4. Sonny Gray will go for the Twins tonight, mark of 4-1, ERA of 2.56. The Twins got the guy they want, at least for the opener, coming up in the series opener tonight. That's at 6 o'clock, 6:20 first pitch at SunTrust Park in Atlanta to open up that series. And the Gold Cup is going on. It began Saturday. That is soccer, for those that don't know, which is held every 2 years with the nations in CONCACAF, which is where the U.S. plays. The U.S. barely tied Jamaica on Saturday. That would have been bad. This is a tournament we're hosting. Costa Rica and Panama, 2 teams that the United States have perennially struggled with. They play tonight, 6:30 on Fox Sports 1. It's a quality tournament because it's nations that the United States needs to beat. And it's on our soil. It's Costa Rica, Panama, Canada's in there, Mexico, obviously, and us. Those are the 5. It's a month-long event. The United States, I believe, plays its next game on Wednesday, and we'll see how they fare there. I think it's against another Caribbean nation, St. Nevis and Kitts, I believe, is who they're playing on Wednesday. Geography test coming up on that. Thanks to our guest today, to Jeff Kolpack, Mojo Weerts, and Leighton Keilen. You missed any of our show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. Have a great Monday, everybody. See you back here tomorrow on Hot Mic.
On the next Cameron Hall, his voice has captured the attention of country superstars Luke Combs and Mickey Guyton and millions on TikTok. We're calling it here.
Tony Evans Jr. It's been a whirlwind. You're going to be the biggest star in country music.
Oh, you can't say stuff like that.
He makes his TV debut with an unforgettable performance for the Tam Fam.
Now you got me full ugly crying over here.
Next Cameron Hall.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. Send your weather-related photos or video to the WDAY Storm Tracker team. Contact weather@wday.com or share them with us on Facebook and Instagram. Keeping an eye on the sky. The WDAY Storm Tracker team.
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it, smile big and bright.
Because of you.
We are happy and we know it. Thank you. Go to lushrunners.org right away.
Let's get together. Let's thrive together. Talk with your pediatrician today about COVID-19 vaccination. This message is brought to you by the American Academy of Pediatrics. Let's get together. Let's thrive together. Talk with your pediatrician today about COVID-19 vaccination. This message is brought to you by the American Academy of Pediatrics.
Our job as community journalists is, more important now than ever. Without news, the community is not informed of the facts. They might be informed on social media, but they're not informed with the facts. Because community journalism keeps our government honest, it keeps decision makers honest, covering our communities, covering the events going on in these towns. They're important, so yeah, my work's not done.
Day. Hazy sunshine thanks to some wildfire smoke with pop-up showers and storms in the heat of the day, mainly up to the north. Otherwise, we see temperatures warm up close to 80 this afternoon, 83 both Forks and Fargo.
Dana Moss.